I have a huge confession to make. I have seen the Odyssey 4 times in cinemas, and there aren't that many films I can say that about. I am a huge fan of film, but I don't claim to be anything other than that, and so I just wanted to share my thoughts on the movie. I won't be looking at this from a historical accuracy point of view, there are far more qualified people for that. I enjoy watching films and I go for that aspect of it. I want to go to a film, enjoy it, and leave feeling like it was worth my time. That's what it's all about to me. I've always loved movies like Jason and the Argonauts and Clash of the Titans, and perhaps this was my chance to experience a modern epic. There aren't many epics being made today, and I wish there were more. My overall hope from the Odyssey is that the movie convinces studios to greenlight more epics. After seeing it so many times, you'd think it would be boring or predictable, but I enjoyed every single viewing. I never got bored or restless. That says a lot about Nolan's writing and directing, or it says a lot about me. The Odyssey does so many things well. Visually, the movie is stunning. That's what stands out the most to me about Nolan as a director. His commitment to shooting on location and using practical props. It makes every scene feel alive in a way that's hard to replicate, making the movie immersive, and you feel that within the first 10 minutes of the Odyssey. When we see the image of Agamemnon arriving at Ithaca, it stands out so much more when those ships, although not historically accurate, appear. Too many movies today would use CGI to just add them in, which wouldn't leave behind the same image, and as a result it wouldn't stand out. Another great example of this is the scenes in Troy. The shot of the towers crumbling was amazing and really stuck with me. I only wish I could have seen it in 70mm. It's also a great reminder of why practical effects will never quite be matched by CGI. I can't mention the scenes in Troy without mentioning the Trojan horse. The image of it being pulled into the city was awesome. The gate opening sequence paired with the soundtrack that steadily builds in speed is masterfully tense. Then watching Agamemnon, who might be one of the most terrifying characters in the movie, stand there as his men begin piling into the city. I actually wish the movie had been even longer, as I would have loved to have seen more of Troy, though I understand it's already almost 3 hours long. The scene with Circe was also excellent, a great example of body horror done well. The entire sequence was impressive, especially since it was achieved practically rather than with CGI, which adds so much to the horror. Combined with strong performances from the whole cast, it's one of the film's most memorable scenes. One of my favourite shots, however, comes during the scene where Odysseus and his men are sprinting back to the ships. It really stayed with me, and I think it's one of the film's best moments. Whether that's down to the sheer number of men running, the way the music builds underneath it, or just how palpable the fear, chaos and panic feels. Watching the same men who ran into the city of Troy run in fear, it's a great scene. The sound design is incredible, especially during the storm scenes, which was a brilliant way of depicting the gods. Each thunderous roar felt like the hand of Zeus striking the cinema. I felt it flow through my whole body. The same happens early on, when the suitors harass the beggar. The same thunderous roar shakes the theatre. The same can be said towards the end of the movie, where the thunder is continuous throughout as Odysseus takes on the suitors. It works so well. Another standout is the Cyclops scene. Once Odysseus and his men stab its eye, the screams aren't just heard, they're felt. The sound was so visceral, I actually felt bad for him. I also loved the storm scene at sea. I truly felt like I was in it. The roar of the thunder and the ocean made it feel completely real, and it drove home just how terrifying it would be to actually be at sea in weather like that. It was beautifully shot, and once again, the sound design was stunning. This is exactly the kind of experience that makes going to the cinema worth it for certain movies. You just don't get that at home. That said, I did have trouble hearing the dialogue at times, and I found myself straining to catch what was being said in certain scenes. That might be my ears, but I've had the same issue with previous Nolan films too. It didn't happen too often, but I often found that every time it was always during the same few scenes, and it was at different cinemas. The score is phenomenal. I found myself in complete awe of it. It's so distinctive that I could close my eyes, listen and know exactly which scene it's from. The music practically tells its own story. I can point to a number of scenes where this music works so well. The song Ithaca is a standout for me. It's a masterful piece of music. Nolan's monologues are always my favourite parts of his films, and the Odyssey doesn't disappoint. Odysseus' speech about the sound of the sirens perfectly captures why the song is impossible to resist, and Matt Damon's delivery sells it completely. In fact, the entire scene is amazing. I know some are not fans of Nolan's writing, but for me, that scene was masterful. The same goes for Odysseus' monologue with Penelope, where he describes the difficulty of his journey home. I was completely mesmerised. The words combined with the violence and the chaos in Troy might be the standout moment of this movie, although I have noticed I've said that a number of times now. The final shot really stands out to me. Odysseus watching as the horse burns against the temple of Athena, seeing the guilt still linger within Odysseus, almost like it's symbolising the unravelling and destruction of civilization. What a potent way to end the movie. The performances across the board are excellent. It's genuinely hard to single anyone out. Matt Damon does an amazing job, though he might get overlooked simply because there are so many strong performances to compete with. Anne Hathaway, Robert Pattinson, I could go on. Each one, no matter how big or small the part, truly brings their A game. I'm not a professional film critic. I just really loved this movie and wanted to talk about it. I would recommend it to anyone who hasn't seen it yet. I believe it's absolutely worth your time. I'd love to know what you think, whether you loved it or not. Either way, I genuinely like to hear your take and maybe learn something new about the film from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.